While they're trying to get settled inside of the courtroom, as we said, Ben Pesta is spending some time with us here today. Ben, not only a noted trial attorney, but also a well-known writer. Ben, if in fact we're about to hear some motions by the defense to dismiss the case at the end of the prosecution's case, the likelihood of that happening, what do you think?
Less than zero, Steve.
That's a good estimate for it. That's a good way to set it up. And they're inside of the courtroom. Ben, hold on for a second. Let me just jump in for a second. Let's listen to what they're talking about here. So we're waiting now for the jury to get in. They should be back any minute now. Gives us a chance to check in one more time with Ben Pesta. Hey, Ben, are you surprised at all by the judge's decision here, especially how strong he's been about this, saying to the defense, I don't want your experts even mentioning that they reviewed any statement by Phil Spector?
Not a bit. The judge has already made a ruling under Evidence Code Section 352, which is the Evidence Code section that provides a judge can exclude evidence if it's likely to be more prejudicial than probative and if it's generally unreliable. And what he's telling the defense is you are not going to use the doctor's testimony as a way to backdoor that diary into evidence.
All right, and he made it very clear that the only way, and Ben's backdoor analogy is correct, he said the only way that it's coming in is if Phil Spector gets on the stand to testify. Ben Pesta, let me bring you into this before we get a break in and ask a question. I know we get this question periodically from viewers when we are showing trials with experts, and that is, why do the lawyers take so much time to have these experts go through so much of their background and credentials? Why is that so important?
Well, the first part of the answer is that it's required by law. You have to qualify a witness as an expert before he can testify. The second part is that the prosecution is going to spend a great deal of time and energy tearing down Dr. DeMaio's testimony, just as the defense did with the prosecution expert. So you want to establish his expertise as impregnably as you possibly can before you let the prosecution get a shot at him.
So essentially, is your argument going to be boiled down here, ultimately in summations, my expert's better than your expert?
Exactly. Now, remember that in the case of the defense, their expert doesn't have to be better than the prosecution's expert. Their expert only has to raise a reasonable doubt.
All right, so it's all about the experts. I was trying a very long, complicated case, and just to sort of lighten up the environment in the courtroom, one of the lawyers had T-shirts printed up that read, "My expert can beat up your expert," and handed them out to both sides. So it's that kind of thing, I am sure. Again, not to minimize what's going on inside the courtroom here. Ben's going to stay on with us. We're going to step aside for a quick break before we leave you for the day. Do want to check in one last time with Ben Pesta. Ben, we appreciate your patience today, a chance to talk as much as we usually do. They didn't take any breaks during the course of our session here, but I do want to ask you about Dr. DeMaio. As you know, you want your expert witnesses to become teachers inside of that courtroom. How do you think he's doing as a teacher?
I think Dr. DeMaio was probably everybody's favorite teacher for his path subjects in medical school. And I think he's doing great today.
Yeah, if you look at it, we got about a minute left to chat here, but if you look at it, right out of the blocks, he's now taken on the prosecution with a couple of things. Maybe most importantly, he's saying now blood spatter, depending upon a lot of circumstances, can go 6, maybe 7 feet. That is a big issue in this case, is it not?
It is, and the important thing to remember is that when the prosecution's talking about 2 feet, 3 feet, they're talking about comparisons of crime scenes. The one thing they can't establish is they can't establish with an experiment using blood and tissue fragments from live human tissue with blood pressure and a heart pumping blood under pressure, because there has never been such an experiment and there never will.
Yeah, well, the juror's going to have a lot to wrestle with in this instance. Hey, Ben, thanks so much for spending time with us. We'll look forward to getting you back again with us sometime real soon. All right, you take care.
Thank you.
Does it for us.